Financial Fed Friday, and we are going to go ahead and get started. So, and we have some special guests here, and we're going to get to them in a few moments, but you know what time it is. It's, hey, welcome. Come on. This is our move moment. You're welcome. Let me turn this up on my headphones a little bit. You are welcome here at Financial Fed Friday. We are so glad you joined us today on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us today for another episode of Financial Fed Friday. So welcome. That's right. Welcome to Financial Fed Friday. I am your host, Darlene Jenkins, and my co-host there,
Dr. Rita B. Rowland.
That's right, Dr. Rita B. Rowland. Yes, she does. And of course, we are being sponsored by Affordable Benefit Solutions, where we're always bringing you what's new and what's next. Today, as you can see, we're joined by two special guests, Mrs. Amy Kinsley and Mr. Luke Bava, and they're going to share some fantastic information with us today as we get into Financial Fed Friday. So for those of you who are new to the broadcast, I just want to let you know that you can join us here every first and third Friday of the month. We broadcast at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're also broadcasting live simultaneously on Facebook. Welcome all of my Facebook watchers. If you could right now, check in and let us know where you're watching us from across the country. For those of you that are here live on the broadcast, put in the chat box where we have the pleasure of you joining us from. During this broadcast, what we aim to do is just to pull back the curtains to give you an in-depth understanding of not only your federal employee benefits, but all of your employee benefits. We give you some of the best retirement options that are out there, as well as different strategies and tools and tips you can use to help reach your financial destination. You want to join us live here on the broadcast, you can always register at RitaBRowlandEvents.com. That's RitaBRowlandEvents.com. Or you can follow us and like us on Facebook at Your AB Solutions. The whole purpose of this Financial Fed Friday series, everyone, is just to help you get a better understanding of your benefits, your money, your spending habits, which is directly tied to your money personality. I say this every first and third Friday. If you've not already done so, you want to head over to our YouTube or to our website and take that money personality quiz. And then, of course, our main objective is just to help you, to help support and offer solutions that will enable you to reach your financial destination.
Darlene, before you go further, you told me to let the people check in, and you didn't just check, so you didn't gone on by. Y'all help her, it's Friday. So
I'm excited because I want to get to these.
So, as you said, we got people coming in from Delaware. We got the Sunshine State of Florida. We got Oxon Hill, Maryland. We got Nashville, Tennessee. We got Upper Marlboro, Maryland. So they're checking in, Darlene. We got DC. We got Virginia. Where was that? Herndon, Reston. Yes, so we got them. So I just wanted you to just stop for a second. Y'all see, she excited, y'all. She didn't ask y'all where y'all was from, and she didn't just.
He's passionate about what we're talking about.
We all know teamwork makes the dream work. And that's why we are co-hosts, because this little train be on down the track. So thank you, Rita, for stopping me. So
Release the balloon.
Yeah, exactly, Luke. So before we get into all of the information for today, I just want to let you know that this broadcast is going to be presented in using a generic approach. And why do we do that? Because without knowing the individual circumstances and situations of everyone that are on here now, looking on Facebook, and those of you who will be joining us later via YouTube, we can't customize the information because we don't know your particular situation. But what you can do is any information you hear on here, if you want to get more information, reach out to us at 301-577-6340, and we will gladly customize anything you see here to fit your situation. So with that in mind, please accept this information as generic in approach and apply it where you feel it meets your particular situation. Thank you so much for understanding that. So this year's theme is getting fiscally fit, getting our money fit. Every year, I don't know about you all, but I know for me, I generally had some sort of physically fit. I'm going to exercise, and then Rita, Luke, Amy, about 30 days in, I done carried my exercise bandwagon up in the woods and burned it, unfortunately. So, but this year we are hanging tough because it's important to get our money fit. And that's what we're talking about. And so this is the fourth quarter check-in, everyone. We're at the end of the year. So we're looking at where are we? What factors may potentially continue to impact our finances? And then more things to consider moving forward. And so with that, more things to consider moving forward. This month is Long-Term Care Awareness Month. And we have some special guests on with us, as I said, Mrs. Amy Kinsley and Mr. Luke Bava, who's going to be going over some very important information with us. If you missed last week's broadcast, we went over different things. Just to do a quick recap, we touched on some of the options for funding long-term care. You could self-fund, you could do Medicaid, not you all on here. You cannot do Medicaid unless you've always been unemployed or a very, very low earner. So if you're working and will receive you have a 401k or Social Security, there's a high probability you will not qualify for Medicaid. Also, you could try Veteran Affairs or transfer the risk. And that's what our special guests today are here to talk about. How do we transfer the risk most effectively and efficiently? So Amy, Luke, would you can you jump on in here and give us some options on what to do? Just touch on this subject of long-term care.
Yeah, absolutely. Luke, if you want to pull up the PowerPoint. Good morning, everybody. It is a pleasure to be here live with you today. As they said, my name is Amy Knisley, and gosh, I've been working with Rita and Darlene for years, and so talk about an extension of family. You guys are in great hands. I love being financially fit or fiscally fit because when we actually think about this topic, kind of the even if we take long-term care out of it and think longevity, think lifespan, think extended care, people are living longer. A plan has to take all that into consideration. Do we have the PowerPoint? We're working on it? Got it.
It's coming.
Got it. Yeah. Look, I'm as excited as Darlene, clearly, right? I'm like, where's that PowerPoint?
Get it up.
No, but, this conversation really is about creating an even stronger retirement plan, right? To protect what you've created. And that's really what we're going to be talking about here, is how this plays into being financially and fiscally fit and protecting against the different things that can happen or the unknowns as you age. Let's cruise through the slides. Let's pass over to the next slide.
And so everyone you can see my screen now as well, right?
Perfect. Well, why don't you hit this up a little bit, Luke, and talk a little bit about, we don't want a statistic right. to death, but there's some good points that we have to make.
Exactly. And so one of the big things, guys, is that people are living longer and longer. For men, we're living to 87 nowadays, and women are living a little past that to age 89. So we are just continuing to live longer and longer. And it's a great thing, but with that, it brings some challenges for us. We actually found out that the only population that's set to grow is at age 65 and up in America. So the only population growing is going to be 65 and up in these next few years. So to put it in perspective, 1/5 of every person you meet on the streets is going to be over the age of 65, and that's going to be in 10 years. And of that 65, 70% are going to need some type of longevity, long-term care planning, what we're going to be talking about today, guys. So we're living longer, which is great, but that brings new challenges, and that's why it makes it so relevant today. Another thing as well that we found out is that by 2040, so 20 years from now, not that far off, is that cognitive impairment. So think of like Alzheimer's, dementia. those are projected to increase from 7.2 million to 13 million. So in almost 20 years, not even at this point, it's almost 2021, we're going to have a doubling in Alzheimer's and dementia. So when we're saying we're living longer, that's amazing, but it's bringing more challenges that you all need to plan for. And just like what we said before, living to age 90, it's common, guys. We're getting living longer and longer.
Yeah, I love that. You know, if you actually just stop and think about that, those two things together, so over 65, the next decade, over 65, the only population set to grow, and we're doubling in any type of cognitive impairment. People can live a long time with a chronic condition like that. The question is what's the quality, right? So those two things together, right there, and so many unknowns should pause us all. If you read this, the slide is the slide, right? So retirement planning should consider a need for 30 years of income. So if someone's 65, you should plan for 30 years. You will live 3 decades. And this is saying that you need about $2.2 million in a pre-tax, so a 401k, an IRA, some type of retirement plan to spit out $100,000 annually. Okay, so $100,000 annually to live on for 30 years. And if you think about that, as the next slide will say, what are some of the threats to that? As you're being financially and fiscally fit here. So what are the threats to your retirement plan that Rita and Darlene have probably helped you create, right? And they put this great income plan or retirement plan in place. The biggest threat is the cost of a healthcare event, guys, and one that's unfunded. So if you actually take that into perspective, I wrote a statistic down that I just heard too, because it's Long-Term Care Awareness Month. So there's a lot of stuff out there right now, but an average couple in retirement will spend $440,000 out of pocket to cover healthcare expenses out of pocket in that 30 years. $440,000. That's a lot of money. And if you have not planned for any of these unknowns or have not planned for any kind of healthcare event or an extended care event, think about that. Where are those dollars going to come from, right? That will disrupt the entire plan that you put in place. That will disrupt your entire financial stability as you knew it. Because once your income is disrupted, you start to reallocate funds, right? And it's kind of like a trickle effect, right? You reallocate funds, and now what you have for income is going to pay for healthcare. Maybe the tithing that you did, you have to stop, right? Maybe the grandkids' college planning needs to stop. So it disrupts every single other plan that you put in place. And it is really, really important to be having this conversation with Rita and Darlene. You need to be talking about that and asking them about that. I'm going to bring it back to you, Luke, because there's some good information in this one too. We need to kind of debunk this.
Right. And guys, I mean, Darlene said it a little earlier, but Medicaid's not a place you want to be on. And there's a couple other misconceptions thinking that someone else is coming to save us. And it's not true. I mean, no one, Darlene and Rita can help put something in place and plan, but without you guys taking action, no one else is going to be coming in to help you pay for these things, these costs that are coming, these challenges in those later years of retirement. People think that Medicare could pay for 16%. It's very limited. More than half think that Social Security is paying for long-term care expenses. Not true. In Affordable Care Act, some people were thinking, well, more than half thought that too. And that was repealed in 2013, so 7 years ago. So once again, guys, we as individuals, we need to be planning with our loved ones, our kids, our spouses, coming and sitting down with people like Darlene and Rita to talk about these conversations. They might not be the funnest conversations. Maybe a margarita would make them be a little easier to drink that while going over it, but these are conversations we need to have. And I'll touch on this very quickly. I know, Darlene, you did a good job of kind of talking about this to start us off with, but Medicaid's not an option really either. If you need to have less than $2,000 in everything that you own to be able to be eligible for Medicaid. So realistically, it's not a feasible option. So what can we talk about? What can we do from a transfer of risk standpoint? And that's the long-term care piece of transferring that risk, that insurance, that peace of mind. And I know that Rita and Darlene have talked to you guys about what is long-term care, But another way to think about it, guys, it's another expense in retirement. It's another expense. Think of it as like another utility bill. And because of that bill, now you're not able to afford, that good cable, the great Wi-Fi. It's another bill that you're having to pay for.
And that's a heck of a utility bill.
I
mean, we're talking, this is the biggest utility bill you've probably ever had. Your windows are real leaky right now. Like you need new siding on your house. This utility bill is humongous.
Right. Good call. Good call, Amy. I mean, it's like basically having a Range Rover at that point of a utility bill. So, it's another bill in retirement that you guys got to plan for. And you could either be shelling that money out yourself. You could be putting that on, stressing the stress onto your kids, your niece, your nephew, your loved ones there. Or, you can help yourself out and them out by talking about these kind of plans and transferring that risk.
Yeah, another thing that I think is interesting is so what is, like I said, long-term care? It's another expense that happens, and you know what you need to talk to Rita and Darlene about is I need a dedicated piece or a dedicated tax-free income stream to cover that piece, right? So how do you plan for that? There's so many unknowns right now, and so we have to be thinking about what small piece here can I take to help transfer the risk so I don't have that big bill down the road. So I have something to supplement and offset that so my other income can stay intact. There's a bunch of different approaches here. There's a lot of different options. And I think, the moral of this story is self-funding, traditional LTC as we probably all knew it. There's on the number 3 and 4, I mean, those are really, really flexible options and solutions that Rita and Darlene have at their disposal. They have number 2 as well, but 3 and 4 are a little bit more popular, which we'll talk about here in just a few minutes, to help you plan for all the unknowns. Like Luke said, Medicaid is not a plan, guys. Nobody wants to spend everything that they've ever worked for, spend down and share a room in a crappy nursing home. No, that's not a plan. Okay. Self-funding is not necessarily a plan. It's great that you have assets, but why wouldn't you want to buy discounted dollars to help that, right? I mean, when you self-fund, you're taking other assets that were allocated for something else and having to use them. And sometimes they're qualified funds. Maybe you have to liquidate things. Maybe you need to sell some land and it's, you're getting pennies on a dollar for it. Self-funding is not a plan either. Okay. So let's move on here. Home is where the care is. We use the term long-term care. We use LTC, extended care, longevity planning. That does not mean nursing home. In fact, it could be probably the opposite of a nursing home because frankly, home is typically where care starts. Right? 2 times a week. People want to stay in their house longer, be around family, maybe have a member of their family around them versus a stranger coming in. And there are some amazing products, which we'll talk about here in a second, that allows you as a consumer to choose where you want to be cared for, how you want to be cared for, and have some really, really good flexibility and freedom through that process. Okay?
And guys, Amy, you did a great job there. I'm going to add one more thing too. But, the biggest misconception that people have is that when they hear long-term care, they think the home. And it is not that. It is when you're thinking and you're doing this long-term planning with Rita and Darlene, just like what Amy was saying, this care starts in the home. And doing this kind of planning allows you to stay there as long as possible, to be comfortable. Right, to stay there, to make modifications, to stay in your own home. And that's why these plans are getting sexier and sexier, because they allow you to have that option to stay in the house and have people come. So don't think that long-term care is a place. It is not. It's an event in your life, and you can receive that care anywhere. Okay? Perfect.
I love that. Yeah, there's a bunch of options. And this is, we'll show you a couple graphs, this one and the next one, but this is really, would be really specific to your situation. So when you're meeting with Rita and Darlene, they're going to be talking about your priorities, your goals, you know, the loss of your independence. What does that look like? Kind of your purpose. You know, they go really deep, and that's one reason that I just adore them, because they're so passionate about their clients and the positioning of this. So there's a lot of different options, and you know, some of the ones that we probably primarily focus on are the ones that, you know, if you don't use it, you don't lose it, right? That have a benefit that allows you freedom, and maybe a cash benefit, the flexibility, the 3 types of plans. Yeah, we could even cruise through, right? Because we're at 10:22 here. I want to stop here and talk about this one a little bit, just because at minimum, one of these 3 things is going to happen to everybody on this call, including myself, Luke, Darlene, Rita. You know, we're going to live, right? We're going to die, or we're basically going to get sick. Like, something is going to happen along our lifespan, right? And we know that unequivocally. And so there are solutions out there. Oh boy, excuse me, someone's calling me. There are solutions out there, and there are plans that no matter what happens in your future, it doesn't matter. You know, there's a lot of unknowns right now. I listened to something yesterday, and I want to just quickly bring this up because it's important. There's a lot of uncertainty right now. I mean, you know, they haven't even declared a president technically, right? You know, people are worried about taxes. People are worried about the debt, the debt of our country. You know, people are worried about, you know, what's going to happen. There's just a lot of uncertainty. And why would you leave all that uncertainty just out there like that? Why wouldn't you want to have these conversations about something that will provide flexibility? If you don't use it, you don't lose it. Provide you freedoms. Give you basically a plan for any unknown for what the future holds. And that's really what these plans are designed to do. And that is the beauty of them. So if you take anything away from this conversation, is write down the flexibility and freedom plan that I want to talk to Darlene and Rita about. At least have a discussion, because it will be worth, you know, all 20 minutes, you know, and you guys may uncover things that you simply just didn't know or just were not aware of. And it'd be the best use of 20 minutes, because this is a real thing. Like Luke was saying, I mean, the longevity is a real thing, and the planning around it, they are so committed to the planning around it because it is that important. Believe me, it is that important. It is a huge disruptor if you don't do it. You know, so I think, you know, don't leave the success of your retirement plan unknown into all this other stuff that's going on there. There's too much of that already. Take accountability and action to have these conversations. Oh, I hope someone's okay.
Someone's getting carted off to the nursing home as we speak.
Yeah, right. Exactly. There we go. Case in point, guys.
So let's see. So,
oh, God.
you know, that's the thing, guys. There's 4 ways to fund it, and it depends what the best strategy is. And as that disclaimer says on the front end, from what Darlene was saying, is, you know, we're talking generically, but until you come and sit down and bring your kids and bring your spouse into a conversation with Darlene and Rita, they can't just say what's the best option for you and your loved ones. You have to sit down and you have to come and develop your plan to see what's best for you and your family. So that's really big there, guys. And, you know, we talk a lot about, you know, why you should, but think about, what if you don't? Think about consequences. You know, there's a lot of, if we just think, oh, well, I should, and then it's just like that working out, right? I should work out because it's going to be good. It's going to be great. But you don't follow through on it, and then all the problems come, right? So the consequences, think of the consequences if we don't tackle this issue, if we don't do this type of planning, if we don't figure out that fire escape plan of, all right, everyone, this is where we meet outside. This is where we're going. This is how you get out of the house in case of fire. So when we think about consequences, think about some of these questions. And if any of them are keeping you up at night or making you just not be able to, you know, feel as comfortable as you should be because you're not giving yourself an answer that you're completely satisfied with, you need to be having this conversation with your family, with yourself, with Rita, with Darlene. And, you know, we're here to help out on the back end as well about all the little details that go into this kind of stuff. But do you have enough resources and support, whether it's financially, whether it's from a loved one, Does your loved ones know that the game plan is for them to be completely taking care of you, for them to put their lives on hold as well, for them to stop working, or being able to take their kids to school, or for them to have to now go to we're all remote working right now for the most of us, but for them to have to transition completely how they work and how they operate. What are you selling first? I mean, Amy loves this question too. So if you don't have a plan, like a long-term care plan, what's the first thing you're going to sell? What asset? Is it Zoom share that we're using now? Is it some Zoom share? Is it a house? Is it
maybe it's your second home, right? Your snowboard home, or it's some dear treasures that you love, right? Maybe some heirlooms, whatever it is, right? And I do love this question, and Luke, you did awesome. I got to take it just a step more granular, because this whole thing is, like Luke said, about consequences. So we talk financially, but let's talk about emotionally and physically right now. So if you had to pick somebody in your family and they're all sitting in front of you, who are you going to say, hey, you know what? Why don't you set aside your whole life and why don't you care for me? Give up everything you're doing and you need to care for me, right? So who is going to have to put their entire life aside to sit by you in the living room? Let's say you're set up in the living room, right? And your wife is sitting in the recliner by you. What does that look like for her? What is an emotional and physical toll on her? Can she even leave the house? God forbid you have a cognitive impairment. God forbid you can't use the restroom yourself. Someone's taking you. Someone's doing these things. Someone's probably carrying you around. Someone's probably sometimes 24/7 having to be in the same room with you, depending on the severity of any kind of impairment. And these are the people that you love and want to protect, right? In the same breath, you're saying, I love my wife, I love my spouse, I love my kids. This is about them as well. This plan is about protecting not just you and your assets, but it's about protecting your loved ones, right? And it's about really, really that purpose and care for your family. Because when you lose independence, it changes the game for everybody around you. And Darlene, I know her and I talked about this, but can attest to that. And so you really have to think about, if I don't plan, how does that play out? Close your eyes and think about who's taking you to the bathroom, who's heaving you around, who's sitting by your side for 24/7, and what that does to them. Because the caregiver, there's tons of statistics out there about this, but the caregivers many times get just as sick or start to become very frail and lose their health almost just as fast as the person they're caring for. And so, that being said, probably didn't, I know we started out real lively, and we're still lively because it's Friday, but this is a real topic, and this planning and this discussion at minimum is going to give you peace of mind. That's priceless, right? That is priceless to know I've done some things to put in place to protect myself and my family. And that is an absolute peace of mind thing. So yeah, with that being said, we're about 10:30, so we can probably turn it back over to Darlene and Rita.
Yes, thank you all so much. We appreciate that. Actually, Luke, can you put those questions back up for us as we wrap up? And thank you all for just hanging in here with us for about another 5 more minutes, because we are wrapping up. This has been a touch-tone subject for me. All of the things that Amy and Luke just went through in their slides, I have lived and am currently living with my family. So these questions here, this is real. You need to sit down. We're in the house. What better time? Thanksgiving is coming up, whether you're doing your Zoom calls or whatever, and ask your family these questions. Do you need Rita and I to come over and be intermediaries? Because sometimes these are hard conversations to bring up on your own. And we are trained to have these conversations with your family and make them non-confrontational, because it's coming from a third party. But it is going to be an emotional toll. We're living the emotional toll right now with another family member, my mom's sister. So this stuff is real. It's not just financially. Because when the emotional toll kicks in, that's going to put a double whammy on the financial toll. And so, Rita, you have something? comments, please, ma'am?
Yes. So Luke, you can stop sharing. You guys take a picture of that because it's important. But I wanted to, for those that may have come on late, and just to recap this, because I think sometimes like Darlene is probably going to be emotional in a minute. I'm going to be emotional because I just feel like we don't always understand and we don't always take things serious and we always think it's not us. But I didn't say this. The U.S. Department of Health said that anybody over 65, 72% of us will need care. So looking at this screen, you see 4 of us on this screen. 3 of us will need some form of long-term care. And so for you to not really take it serious, for you to not think how important it is, you may be in the 25%. But there's going to be a brother, a sister, a mother, a daughter, somebody's in the 75% who's going to still need your assistance. That's one thing. It's clear that we're all going to die, but before that death, 72 is going to need the care. But what they said, that $444,000, that's real money out your pocket that's unfunded by anybody else but you. Do you have a spare $440,000? Most of you have maybe $500,000 in your retirement plan. After taxes, it's at $350,000, $320,000, depending on what the taxes is. You don't even have enough for your care, let alone food, clothing, shelter. The other thing they say, I think such confusion, it costs too much. Really? Is that really too much to spend $100, $200, $300 a month in exchange for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month? Do you really understand what the cost is? And maybe you're trying to get a Rolls Royce plane. Maybe you just need the Ford Focus or a Lexus plan. Maybe you can't get the biggest plan ever. What I was always taught is the best plan is the plan that's enforced when you need it. Not the one you thought about, not the one you wanted, but the one that's enforced when you need it. And so I'm going to ask you to really take this information. Luke said there's consequences. He just had the question. You need to ask the person, if you made a decision to not have a plan, I think you need to look every daughter, every son, every spouse, every grandchild in the eye. Tell them that you made a decision that I'm not paying for it. And because that's my decision, I'm giving you the responsibility to stop your life, to drain your pockets, to do everything you can to take care of me. I think it's common courtesy to share with the people that we love that we made a decision to not care. That's common courtesy because there are consequences and you have to determine who's going to pay. You can either let some type of insurance plan pay or you and your family can pay. And if you understand your health care, you pay health insurance because you don't want to pay, right? You pay car insurance because an accident could wipe everything out. You pay for your house for a roof. But here it is, the thing that's going to protect your income in retirement. You're not willing to put an insurance plan on it. I just want you to know, you guys, this is serious. Darlene is a living testimony of what it looks like when people say they don't want a plan. Her mother said no to the plan. It drained not only her mother, but it drained her. And what she said is real. She's my best friend. I see she is still dealing with the consequences of her mother's decision. And it's been 2 years later. So please, whatever you do, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Zoom, I want you to take this recording, go to our page and share it on your page. Talk to your family. If you're having a hard conversation, tell them, just watch the video. Give them the information, the tools that you all need to make a wise decision, because without that wise decision, 75% of us is dependent on a government that's already broke. They can't afford what they already have. You think they can afford you. So listen, take this thing. I know sometimes I get emotional because it's sad to see that when you got to be able to take this is not just knowledge. These are real tools for your financial future and your destination. So thank you, Amy. Thank you, Luke. This is real because this is the thing that's hurting most people. And people just like, okay, I will one day. And before that one day is too late.
Too late. When they want it, Rita, they can't get it. We always know the story, right?
Absolutely. And so when we have on here the options for funding long-term care, we today focused on the option of transferring the risk. And we meant transfer the risk to an insurance company, exchanging pennies for dollars. But as Rita and Luke just indicated, Many of us are not transferring the risk to an insurance company, but we're transferring the risk to our loved ones. So let's make a different decision and look at some options to protect you and your loved ones. And now we're going to go ahead and progress. This has been a great conversation today. Thank you so much, Luke. Thank you so much, Amy Knisely, which I flubbed your name, and I apologize for that, Amy Knisely.
Oh, I've been called worse. We're good.
But today, what we've been doing is planning, and planning is just bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it now. And that's what we want you to do. Do something about it now, because we here, your Financial Fed Friday team, as well as all of our associates here at Affordable Benefit Solutions, we want you to know that we are a full service financial solutions firm. We can help you in all areas of your financial planning and building, from your retirement planning, helping you with tax-free retirement options, different things, your 401k, TSP, what to do with it as you're approaching, as you're working and getting ready to retire. Estate planning, how do you most tax efficiently transfer your accumulation to your heirs? How do you get those assets to them most tax efficiently and without probate? Also, insurance services. Like we have said many times on here, GoFundMe is not an insurance option, but it's not just life insurance. We also focus on paycheck protection. Everyone has a lot of stuff that we insure, but we don't insure that paycheck that pays for all of the other stuff that we want to accumulate. Long-term care, that's what we just went over. You want to definitely give us a call. We have a white paper that we can send out to you, and that's just simply a document that goes over some of these information and resources that we've been quoting here. Reach out to us and email us, and we'll get that to you. And of course, we know the importance of getting our credit and debt together. So we have plans and information that can help you with that as well. So what's going to be right for you? It depends. Everyone is an individual. There is no cookie cutter situation. And Rita and I, and those of us here at Affordable Benefit Solutions, we don't operate like that. We treat everyone as the unique individual that you are. So contact us today so that we can map out a strategy to help put together all of these pieces, not only for you, but for your loved ones as well. So thank you so much. We are Affordable Benefit Solutions. This is our office here at 9500 Medical Center Drive. Do you see me right here? I'm waving out the window.
You got to go put your hand on the window so we can see it.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to lose the feed, Rita. But hey, thank you for joining us. This is the real thing. We got real today. We are the real thing here at Affordable Benefit Solutions. Give us a call, 301-577-3420. We can help get the real thing together for you and your family. Reach out to us via email. You can email us at fff@YourABSolutions.Inc. We look forward to being of service to you and your family. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving next week, and we will see you here on December 5th for the next broadcast. Any questions?
Just remember, well, we got a statement. I don't think we have any questions on Facebook, but just remember, you guys, whoever's listening, even if you're on Zoom or on Facebook, please, if I can ask a favor for anything I've ever asked you, I need you to help me with this one. I need you to share this Fed Friday. If you haven't shared any of the rest of them, I see some of you, thank you, Keith, thank you, Alwanda, thank you, Jeff. You guys are sharing our page. Share this to people because many people are really unaware. They don't understand the impact. And so sometimes once a person understands, they can make that decision. So I'm asking you, I know this hasn't been a really fun topic for you, but is a real topic. And so thank you very much for allowing us to share today. We thank you, Amy. We thank you, Luke. We could not have done this without other family members. Thank you, Darlene, for always being so transparent with your own story, willing to put your emotions and your life on the line. Not everybody is willing to be vulnerable like that, because being vulnerable allows you to live that experience all over again that you're currently still living. So we thank you for laying your emotions aside to help change someone else's life. And so I just want to say thank you guys. Have a great weekend, and don't take it for granted. Don't hang up this call. Don't get off Facebook and say, "Whoo, that was some good information," and don't do something about it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
Do
Rita.
something about it.
Yes, thank you to our special guests, and thank you to our participants. We wouldn't be doing this if it were not for you, or we couldn't do this. That came out wrong, I think. We couldn't do this without you.
Oh, last thing, you guys can go. That song, The Real Thing, You're Welcome, that's my husband's song. He made that song. So shout out to Bernard and the Positive Force Band. Yay! I'm sorry, that's just a little pain. A little shameless plug for my boo.
Yes, I'm your honey girl. So thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend and enjoy your family safely. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Happy
Bye.
Friday.
Thanks again.